Hello guys, I created this cute character to keep exploring the physics that came with Spine 4.2, the beta version, and I want to show you some things that I didn't explain on the last video, some properties, but I want to go through the whole process. I created already some basic structure. I like to keep them transparent, more transparent, so they are not in front of my character and I can see the silhouette of my character very clearly. So this is important for me as an animator, so I can see what's happening with the silhouette of the character all the time. And the less I have in front of my character, it's better for me to realize how it is deforming. I brought this from 3D actually, because in 3D you have also a lot of bones, a lot of controls to animate your character. It's a common workflow to hide some parts of the rig while you are animating other parts. So you can keep your focus on different parts at the same time, and of course you can hide everything to see how your character is moving, how the silhouettes are built, and this will give you a better sense of what you are doing and what would be the final result. So if you can craft in general for animation, take time to craft your poses, and here's the same with spine. It's not only for 3D. It's the same for any kind of animation that involves character or something that depends on the silhouette, on the design of the character or whatever the object that is being animated. But silhouette is important. Keep this in mind, and as less as you have in front of your character to keep the drawing, the silhouette, and the design clear for you is better. So this is my basic structure. There's nothing special here. It's a hip control. Uh, Here I can control, of course, it's the center of my character. My character has this big eye. I don't know yet what I will do with it, but I like to start from the main block, the basic structure, uh, the construction of the character, then I go to the details. So I have my hip and I have my legs, basic setup for IK, that I will do the IK handle later. I have for the body a main bone because I don't want to split this in a lot of parts, because I don't want to deform this too much. I would like to keep it more intact on this area because of the eye, of course, so I can control better how it is deformed when I animate the big pupil here. And I have only the top of the head separated here, and I create for each tentacle a chain of bone that I will apply the physics control over it. I will apply over here as well, so it will give me some nice dynamics, and I will do a mix of the dynamics and the regular animation, so I can control both ways. It's a nice experiment for you to do as well. And this is the control for the eye. Let's change the icon, or not. Yeah, let's make it a circle. And I will start meshing it now. Maybe I can start creating the eye case. Probably you know you have this orientations axis here. If you have your bone oriented by the local rotation, you see it follows the x-axis is following along the line of the bone. If you have local selected, you can come here and create a new bone. It will create at the very end of that bone, and then you can like reparent to the root of the characters, so it's independent of the hierarchy, so you can use it as an IK. Let's do the same here for this leg, and parent to the root again, and then I can create my IKs. using this. Let's do leg right. So here I have my leg, and I like to disable rotation so the foot keeps in place, not rotating. Because if you don't do that, every time you have to correct this again to the correct position. Because if you move it here, let's do it to show you. If you move it here, you see the bone is pointing down, and if you don't want it, you need to go back and fix it. So if you turn this off, it's much easier for you to do like something dynamic, like overlaps and the follow through. If you have this fixed in position, then if you leave it rotating with the IK. So just a quick tip for you, because this helped me a lot. Let's create the other IK handle. Let's call it leg left. It looks like inverted because this, if you are looking to the screen, on the screen this is at the right. Yeah, but the character is in front of you, so I tend to keep the position of legs and arms as they are. So if you are the character and you turn yourself to be oriented as the character is, this leg actually is your left leg, not your right leg. It's right according to the monitor, to the screen, but in real life, let's say, uh, it's not left, it's the right. But this is for me. I like to keep like that, but you don't need to do that. So now we have our, we need to parent this, of course, to the main controller. Okay, now I have it working. I can uncheck rotation. The other thing that I like to do is to enable stretch. I know it can cause some pops during the animation, but at the same time it doesn't break the chain when I go beyond limits. Okay, so later I will create a 3D controller so we can give it a little bit of rotation. Let's focus first on the main structure, then we can go back and add the details as the controls for the eyes and controls for 3D and everything else. Next, let's parent the slots to the bones to keep things organized. So the leg goes to the leg. This eye globe part, this one on the back, let's put it on the main controller. Let's put also the pupil on the main controller, and let's put the specular, the reflection of the light, also on the controller, and of course the body on the main body controller, so I can move it all together. This tentacle is a little bit off from the head, so I parent this here, and for each tentacle I will put on the root bone for that tentacle. Yep, so this is basically it for the parenting, and it's dancing already, so it is excited. So let's start from the legs. Go back to the, I like to filter the slots, because if you filter, you can just use the P shortcut and parent to the bone that you want. If you don't have this filter and you want to parent by pressing the P, if you click another bone, it will ask you to create a slot, to add to a slot, so you have more options. It's okay, but it's not that fast. So by filtering the slots, selecting, clicking P and clicking the bone is something much faster to do. So it's just let's say productivity tip. But let's start meshing. maybe since I am focusing on the physics and I know this upper part will receive most of the physics, let's start by here and start adding the constraints, like for the bottom, the top. Oh, it's not named correctly. Body top. For the top, let's name this body bottom. Let's give this one the physics constraint, and you will see it's working already. Let's keep it like that. The only thing that I will change is the amount of the settings. Let's put this on 50%. So that means the mix means that everything that I will set here, it will be 50% happening, working on this one. So it will still has physics, but like half amount. I want to keep it like that because I can have the physics and animate it as well, so it's like 50-50. But it's up to you, of course. And for this, let's start meshing. I like to use trace just to speed it up a little bit. The creation, I like to give it a little bit of padding so the lines are not too close of the drawing. So once I have my basic, I start refining the vertices around the edge. So let's start modifying some positions here to keep them symmetrical. Once again, I like to explain that a lot about the symmetry, because meshes operate in triangles to create quads for parts, polygons that are two triangles. So I like to keep them symmetric, especially on sections like this, too long. They will deform better if they have like symmetry. Create a structure, knowing what you need. So here I need symmetry right now. Maybe I have too much here. I don't have this much of deformation. And of course, you have better deformation uh, with the density, with a high density of vertices. But it will also be hard to control and to refine. So even if you want to put a lot of vertices here, start with a low count of vertices, and once the deformation overall is nice, then you can add more and refine more. It's not a problem to come back and add details. I like to do that. I do that for most of the things. If it is 2D or 3D, doesn't matter. I start from the rough to the polishing. So let's say this is nice. Maybe here this curve is not that refined. Okay, now it has like a nice shape. Also this one, maybe it's missing one here. So now it has a flow, a good flow. All right, let's keep like that. And let's bind it. Okay, I like to check with the overlays. If these limits of colors are too hard, you can come to smooth and the deformation will be softer. All right, let's give it a try. Okay, looks like okay. Let's add some physics now. and later we can like set this all the parameters for the bones. But right now it's looking nice, right? Yeah, I love it. Okay, I will do the same with the other tentacles, exactly the same thing. So I will speed up the video a little bit so you don't need to keep watching this slow process, okay? Okay, the mesh is done except for the body. But what I like to show you here, I just did the mesh for the legs. In the middle of the process, I lost my IK bones. Not a problem. I will create them again. And check the rotations. Okay, so it's moving. We need to refine the weight here because I just hit mesh and I didn't set up anything. Let's do this a little bit roughly here. Let's remove the pink bone from here. And let's remove, it is removed already from the down part. Okay, let's see how it plays now. No, it needs a refinement, a lot of refinement, but I can do that on the animation mode. I still need to set up this here. Maybe it is too much all the way. Maybe we can have a transition here. Yeah. And this part is fixing. But I will not spend much time here. It's just a matter of balancing the weights. I can do that later. Yeah, it will get there. But what I want to show you here is something that also I bring from 3D workflow. In 3D, a lot of rigs has this setup for the foot that is called inverse IK foot, something like that. It's a foot setup. Like if I play with this setup only, I have this control here, and then I have this control here to rotate the whole foot. But if I want more refined control, like if I want this character to stay on the tip of the foot, the very tip, I have to do that like manually. I have to put this here, and then I have to I have to bring this bone here, and then for every time I move this or move the foot, I have to do it all again to adjust and to make it look like the tip of the foot is not moving. So this is a very simple setup, but for this one I just want to show you that because even this simple one, it can solve a lot of problem. You just create this bone. Usually I create this bone just to have like a main control, and I don't need to like keep searching for these very small bone when I am zooming out like this. I create like another large control for the foot so I can access that easily. But if you create like inverted like I did here, and you parent this bone to this bone, and the same here, this IK control to this bone, now I still have the main control for my foot. I can now rotate the whole leg based on the tip of the foot. To do that, we need an extra setup here with a transform constraint to bind the rotation of these two bones. So it will be like that. I will give a match, and then I can go like 90% of rotation here. So now if I rotate this, I can rotate my leg and I can play with my character to be on the tip of the foot. And at the same time, since I am like 90% constrained now, I still can rotate this bone to make like refinement and other adjustments on rotation. But this is something that is very useful for animation, and if you don't have this kind of setup, you can't do that easily. Of course, you can do that almost frame by frame by adjusting this bone's rotation, but I found it more easy to animate if I have this kind of control here. I just want to show you that, of course, this is a more complex setup, but it's very useful if you want to try it. And of course, you can create variations. You can even create the other one that I told you, that you can rotate by the tip of the foot and at the same time by the heel if you need, like this. It's very useful, and the nice thing is that the whole leg follows it, so I can rotate and the whole leg goes after it. So let's do this again one more time. You can see here my bone. It doesn't matter now if it is checked or not, because it will stay in place the same way. If I don't have a constraint, it will not rotate according to this one. So let's create another transform constraint, bring it here, match, and make it like 90%. And then I have here again the possibility of animating my leg. So this is something I like to do, and I think it works very well. It helps me to create like nice poses. So try yourself, have fun. We can do a little bit of animation here. Maybe a dance will be nice. Just to see the parameters playing. All right, just a quick dance, like with a double bounce at the end. Go back a little bit. Let's move the rotation as well. Go back to the first pose. And then let's go back. Oops, not Control X, Control C. Let's put it again here. Let's copy this one, so it will do like the same trajectory. Of course, we can do the bounce on this side as well. Maybe it will make more sense if we do. So let's bring this a little bit down. Let's copy this keyframe here and here. And the middle, let's bring it up. Yeah, we needed to go more down and left. We need this pose to be like this one. No. Control C, Control V. Yeah, now we have it. And Control V here again, so they are the same. If you want to change the pose, like the intensity of the rotation or position, you do on this first pose. And in the middle, let's create a bounce. A little bit of rotation. So now it has like a double bounce. We need to balance the timing here so they are closer. Let's make it busier. It's weird right now. I have like 11 frames here, right? So I need to polish this part. So let's do it. But polishing happens on the curves, of course. So let's separate our axis here. This axis is the horizontal, so I think it's okay on the X, but let's check the Y. The Y is the vertical. So here I have the top point of my trajectory. Okay, maybe this a little bit up. So they are kind of the same. They have the same intensity. Let's make this smoother. Maybe I need more space here. From 26 to 40. So I need kind of the same amount here. Let's bring everybody back and let's, yeah, definitely. It's much shorter. So let's make it larger, longer. Yep, this is okay, like this. Cool. Another thing that I can do here is create an offset with the rotation. I can do that here, of course. And I can do, let's just create a rotation for everybody here. Let's make it smoother with the bezier. I can offset this actually. And it works. And I can add another layer of offset by animating the main body here. I can do even for position if I want. And now I have another option that is creating physics for it. I can do it by the physics as well, but I like to do by hand. Offsets is something that I like to do by hand. I am not saying physics is bad in Spine. Of course, it's not a huge landmark for Spine, but the danger of this is that new animators tend to use this all the time and they don't learn about offsets and follow through. So they will not know the physics, how to craft it. So this is a little bit dangerous, to be honest. Because the good animators, they know how things, so it doesn't matter. The physics are there, and of course it's a huge upgrade for Spine and for the workflow as well. So you can use this, of course. You need to use this. It makes your work much faster. What I am saying is that maybe lazy animators, new animators, they will skip this part of the learning, like learning the principles. If they have a tool that automates the knowledge for them, they will not get the knowledge, you know. So even when you have something very cool like physics like this, try to learn what's behind this, because physics, we everything that we animate actually is just physics translated to the screen. So try to understand how physics works, how the world works, the forces and the gravity and the dragging, everything, and then you will be like very powerful complete animator. You will be ready to work on any environment with any workflow that you need. Maybe you will land on a studio that doesn't support Spine 4.2. It's very common, actually. All the studios that I worked before, they never use the latest version because it depends on a lot of factors. The engine needs to support it. So when you have something very new like this version of Spine, it takes a little bit of time until the studio gets the full support on the pipeline to support this version, you know. So if you are hired to work on this kind of environment that doesn't support the latest version with the latest cool things, you still need to know how to make it work, you know. So the secret behind this is knowing how physics works, how animation works, how motion works. And this message is so powerful that this is why I am creating Spineation.com. That is my project to teach you animation. I don't have interest to teach you like spine, like features. I'm doing tutorials because everybody loves it, and it's nice to everybody explore these new features. But what I really want to teach you is animation. Is exactly the same thing that I told you seconds ago. How things works, how forces works, how gravity, how dragging works. So you can be prepared even to use this kind of features better because you know how to control it better because you know what's behind it, you know. So this kind of stuff you need to explore. So I hope you really like the content that I am creating, and when I release the course, Spineation course, maybe you consider to join me and to make the course, and we can learn together. I can help you understanding this world of forces and physics and everything else, because as I told you, animation is just the translation of this mechanics to the screen. And of course, over that we can put like intention, and we can make our characters shine and express emotions and everything else. So this is something that I really passionate about it. I will continue this on another tutorial because this is too long already. I've shown you some cool stuff about the physics. And on the second part, I will finish the setup for the eye, and then we can animate this character better, not just a dance. We can make it do something really cool, actually. So see you soon. See you on the next part.